Forbidden Knowledge Television.
This is logged in on November 25th, 2023, Eastern Standard Time. Sensitive material has been breached and it is now in front of the public. This is very sensitive documentation and the world will be in total chaos if leaked, and it is now leaked. All of it. Not one document, all of it. Place of exploitation, Forbidden Knowledge Television. This must be stopped.
What's up? What's up? It's Billy Carson here, aka Forbidden Knowledge, and I'm back. We just got off of here a few minutes ago with an amazing Forbidden Knowledge, Forbidden Tour of Egypt testimonial. And so shout out to the Forbidden family for coming through and giving their testimonials. Every so many weeks, we have a few people that come on live with us and talk about their experience traveling with Elizabeth and I on our Forbidden tours. And we travel all around the world and we take people to ancient sites. This year, we're going to Turkey. We're going to go to Derinkuyu, Göbekli Tepe, Karahan Tepe, all the ancient sites around that region, and take people on the most amazing tour of Turkey. And then that's going to be for my birthday. You'll spend my birthday here with us. And then in October, we're going to take another incredible trip to the land of Africa and give people another forbidden tour of Egypt. All right. It's going to be amazing. Going to be amazing, guys. So tonight we're going to be talking about the wars of the gods. All right. The wars of the gods. Really love it. It's going to be another great talk. I'm going to drop some knowledge on you guys about some of the wars that happened in the ancient past. I'm going to do this PowerPoint style. I'm going to pull up a PowerPoint and I'm going to show some things on the screen because sometimes people are more visual learners. And so I'd like to be able to show you what I'm talking about, okay? Because there's some amazing things that I think that we need to be able to see, all right? And so it's going to be a great talk. Make sure you share this link. Make sure you guys click that like button. We got to get this algorithm up. We got to get it going and cranking. Click that like button and please subscribe, all right? Make sure you please subscribe. And also, don't forget, if you want to get notifications, I just saw somebody say, thank you for the text. As you know, these platforms don't really send out the notifications, even though you request to see or get notifications. So if you want to get on our notification list when we're going to go live, you're going to text us at 954-245-0086. 954-245-0086. I just dropped that in the live chat. Soon, very soon, we will be able to take international text messages as well. Right now, it's only America, but we're close to being able to do it internationally. So soon, everyone will be able to get our notifications as to when we go live. Okay, so that's coming up in just a few more weeks. I know the international family has been like, man, I can't text that number. I know that, but now the breakthrough is finally coming through. You've helped manifest it. So in just a few short weeks, we'll be able to take international text messages as well. Okay, so that's going to be able to happen. And we're going to have more international giveaways. The only thing that stopped us from doing giveaways internationally was the fact that the number only worked in the US. But now when that's activated, we'll have international giveaways. So, we just gave away the Mercedes-Benz. We're giving away a scholarship to Egypt. We gave away an Audi A4 last year. The year before that, we gave a Rolls-Royce Ghost away. We gave away a Ford Sport the year before that. We give away computers and tablets and MacBook Pros. We've given away a lot of stuff. So now the international community will be able to get involved in these giveaways that we do. All right. And when we give something away, there's no cost to you whatsoever. We literally give it to you. We even pay for the shipping. So thanks for your patience, international community. Very soon, I promise you'll be able to participate in some of these international giveaways as well. All right. So thank you so much. Thank you for all the great comments in the live chat. We appreciate you guys so much. And before I get started, something I'm going to begin to do every time. And by the way, yes, eSnap, you can still invest in round 3. Round 3 is open, and I'll talk about that today as well. Thank you, Pray 7, for your donations from the last podcast we just popped up and did a few minutes ago. We appreciate you. But before every video, I'm going to have to say this disclaimer, because I don't want you guys getting abused out here with scammers. As you all know, there are so many fake accounts that get created on a daily basis. It seems like a fake account virus. You can't even stop these things. The more you block them, the more they just recreate anyway. So blocking, and we hired somebody full-time to block and report the fake accounts, and even they can't handle it anymore, because that's how many are created on a daily basis. So what we decided to do now, instead of paying somebody $15 an hour to try to block all these fake accounts all day long and so forth, we're going to make a disclaimer. That's the best we can do. We're spending tens of thousands of dollars to combat these fraudulent people, but there's no way to get around it. Okay, it's outrageous that these platforms allow this. My hypothesis is that these people work for the platforms. There's no other way around it. There's no way that their AI can stop and suppress information and hold back video views and stop you from saying things or ban your video if they don't like what you're talking about. But they just can't stop these people from spamming and stealing money from people making fake accounts. You mean to tell me their AI can't tell that a fake account was just created? Come on now, it can tell. So it leads me to believe that these people that are doing this to you guys work for the platforms. It's the employees of these platforms. So in order to combat that, we must tell you, fake accounts exist. Fake YouTube accounts, fake Instagram accounts, fake Facebook, fake TikToks, fake everything accounts, okay? I will never, and I repeat, I will never come into a replied message that you made or comment you made and reply to you and give you my WhatsApp number and tell you to call me. And then when you call, it's somebody else on the phone. It's just not going to happen, okay? Also, you're never going to get a random direct message. I'm not going to just randomly DM you on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. I'm not going to just hey, how you doing? You want to talk today? It's not going to happen. I'll never send you a random DM with a PayPal link. I don't even have PayPal. Okay? It's not going to happen. I'm never going to DM you and ask you for your Cash App number or your Cash App name or whatever it is. I don't do that. Okay? So, with that being said, understand when you make comments and replies and look for replies, make sure you check out who you're talking back to, because a lot of the times they're just bots or fake accounts that are looking to set you up. If you get a random direct message from Billy Carson or Forbidden Knowledge or Elizabeth Carson, come on. It's not us, okay? We don't have the time to sit there and go, I just want to contact Mary Sue right now and have a conversation. It's just not going to happen, okay? So with that being said, we can get on with the show, all right? We can get on with the show. I can't understand how these platforms are just allowing this to happen. It's like I said, my hypothesis that these people work for the platforms. It just, to me, that makes more sense as to the reason why it's not being stopped. If I make a community post on YouTube, static image post, right away underneath everyone's comments about that is another person coming in saying that they're Billy Carson or Forbidden Knowledge, with the name spelled wrong, of course. fake accounts, and with a WhatsApp number or a Telegram number. I'm not going to use Telegram. I'm not going to be telling you my WhatsApp number. Just not going to happen. Anyway, got it out the way. Got it said, you know now, you know better. And I had to do it because people have contacted us that have sent money to these crazy fake people that claim that they're working with us. Nobody's working with us. We're working for ourselves. This is the Forbidden Knowledge Incorporated, not some company in Uzbekistan, not some PayPal account that leads down into Mexico. I mean, we have to be more studious and researched in what we're doing, who we're communicating with, and of course, where you're sending money, okay? Now, let's get into it, all right? So we're talking about the wars of the gods today, all right? And by the way, thank you guys for all of the donations coming, and I appreciate y'all so much. All the donations are going to help people, the kids at communities and schools, which we will be at their banquet again for the third year in a row in just a few short months in Detroit, Michigan, all right? So the wars of the gods. So we know that the gods, and I do mean gods with a lowercase g, not a capital G. We're talking about people. Anytime you hear me say gods, I want you to remember that I'm talking about flesh and blood people. I am not talking about the creator of the universe, because I believe in the creator of the universe. No matter what you hear online and all these people, this guy's an atheist. I'm not no atheist. I've said it a million times. The quantum physics and quantum mechanics proves that we're living in a creation, and that was created by somebody or something. And I believe that this creation is imbued with divine energy, okay? I believe that wholeheartedly, that we're living in a creation, that there is a God, that there is a divine spark that created everything in the universe. But these beings of the ancient times, of the olden days, that were called gods and revered by people, they weren't gods. They masqueraded as gods. They masqueraded as gods because it was to their advantage. When a more advanced civilization engages a less advanced civilization, the less advanced civilization will deify them. It will happen every single time, guaranteed. When America showed up at the Atoll Islands in the South Pacific to start testing nuclear devices, guess what they did? They went and landed on an island there. They took seaplanes and they took boats and they went to this island in the middle of the atolls. And the tribes, the indigenous tribes there, had never, ever, ever seen an airplane, a white man, clothing, technology, weapons, cargo. They were completely stunned. They thought they were looking at holy figures. They thought they were looking and talking to the gods. And these gods gave them cargo. They gave them clothing. They gave them cans of Spam. They then took and reproduced what they saw these people doing on the island. So after the military left, they took sticks and made fake guns, M16s, right, out of sticks. They made airplanes out of sticks. They made runways, the dirt runways. They tattooed their chest, USA on their chest. It's called a cargo cult. And every religion that exists on this planet is nothing more than a cargo cult. That's all it is. Those people still to this day sit outside and look up to the sky, waiting for the gods to return and bring them more cans of Spam. I've talked about this in numerous lectures, and I've showed the people, the indigenous tribes, in videos. I can't air it here on YouTube because it would get a copyright strike. It's on the History Channel, okay? But I do it in my lectures and my conferences. If many people on this live have probably come to some and see me talk about this before, or come to my private workshops, my classes that I teach on Forbidden Knowledge TV, you can see it there. Cans of Spam. They thought they were gods. They'd never seen a can, yet alone meat packed inside of a can. Okay? They would walk around marching through their little island jungle with USA on their chest from paint that they made from flowers and plants. Stare at the sky for hours, waiting for the sky gods to return. They can get more Spam. A whole religion cropped up. They engaged those people in a way that altered their complete future reality for generations to come. They created an entire religion, which is why more advanced civilizations should not interfere with the everyday life of citizens on a planet that are less advanced. It should never happen. That's a galactic law. Interfering should be forbidden, and it is forbidden, but some people violated that. And how do I know this, what I'm saying? In the text, it says that they know they violated that law. It says that they would have to answer. This is what the Anunnaki said in the tablets. They would have to answer to the creator of all for what they have done here. So they themselves knew they weren't gods, that there was some power higher than them, and that they one day would have to answer to that power. Again, not gods, only masquerading as gods. And these people had a lot of wars. Where do you think mankind gets the war mentality from? We get it from these people. We had good teachers. They had a lot of wars on this planet. A lot of wars. And they taught us how to go to war. As a matter of fact, you find out about them in the book of Enoch, where they come down and begin to teach man how to make weapons to kill each other. This is why the book of Enoch was left out of the Bible. Even though Enoch was revered in the Bible, where's his book? We won't, don't put that in there. It's talking about people coming from space down to the ground and teaching people how to make weapons to kill each other. But if you go into the book of Deuteronomy, you discover that these angels, aliens, which look like people, I'm talking about flesh and blood people. How do I know they're flesh and blood people? Well, they had sex with humans. They had heterosexual sex. They had homosexual sex. They got drunk with humans and high with humans. It's all in the Bible. Yeah, it's all in there. They would go to war with humans, and they would take their weapons and go to war to slay other humans. They had allegiances to people. They would hang out in bars and get drunk. That's in the Bible. That's in the biblical text. But it comes even out of more ancient text, coming out of Samaria. All the evidence is right before your very eyes. The only Bible that has a copy of the book of Enoch inside of it is the Ethiopian Bible, which predates the King James Bible by a very, very long time. When the Council of Nicaea got together to decide what books they were going to put in and what books they were going to keep out, they were like, yeah, Enoch, we can't tell them about the spacemen coming down with the weapons. Just can't do that. We just can't let them know about the spacemen with the advanced weapons. That's something we'll tell them in the Bible that he was whisked away into heaven and never came back because he was so holy. He was just whisked off into heaven. And you got Christians running around telling that story. When in actuality, when you read the book of Enoch, you discover he had an appointed time to get with these aliens and get into their ship and was taken up into space to look back at the earth from on top of the clouds. And he describes what the earth looks like from space. And then they took him to go meet the master. And the master taught him knowledge of construction techniques, blueprints, architecture, mathematics, all of this stuff, spirituality, and then brought him back at a later date. It was an appointed time to leave to go learn, like he was going to go to university. And then they brought him back years later. It was so much planned that he even had a conversation with his sons on how to handle the family estate while he was gone. But if you ask a Christian about this, they're going to tell you, no, he was so holy that God just took him, and he's the only person that ever just got snatched up from the earth and never had to go through death. No, that's not accurate. Sorry, it's not accurate. It's just not accurate. We have the receipts, as they say. Okay, we have the receipts. So interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of a PowerPoint as I go through some of this. All right, as I go through some of this, and before I get started, let me know if my camera is still good. Am I lagging at all? Let me know, lagging or no lag in the live chat. I've been having a little bit of trouble with my processor over here, my soundboard. So before I open up the PowerPoint, I just want to know if there's a lag or no lag. Just let me know in the live chat, all right? Okay, perfect. Thank you, CM Lee. Appreciate you. Perfect. Okay, cool. So I'm going to open up a PowerPoint presentation here, and we're going to dig into some of this information. I'm going to try to do this PowerPoint in a way that I've never done it before by actually going into this app and utilizing it a slightly different way than I'm normally used to. So let me find it. Let me go here and find it first. Hold on, let me open it up. Make sure I have it right. Okay, Wars of the Gods. Okay, got it up. Now let me go back and share my screen. And we share the audio. That's perfect. Yeah, we got to find the window. All right, sharing the audio. Share tab or screen instead. Okay, so I need to share screen. Share entire screen will allow me to share my audio. Got it. Okay. All right. Now that I have this open, let me start from this current slide. And let me just see what it looks like before I continue to make sure I'm on the right track with this thing. 1 second, guys. I just want to make sure I got it looking proper before I put energy into this and it's not working properly. Because I can't see the live chat right now. So if you're talking to me in the live chat at this moment, I can't see it, as I am right now looking at my live. Okay, this looks good. Well, I got 2 parts of the screen up. Let's see what happens when I go. Okay, this looks good. Well, I got 2 parts of the screen up. Okay. All right. 1 second, guys. I'm trying to get this for you. Make sure we get this thing right. All right. Let me check it one more time. All right, that's good. I'm gonna leave it like this. This is good enough. All right, so we're starting off in the Pleiadian star system. And when my new series comes out, my new TV series is Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed. It's going to be airing at IMAX theaters throughout the country in specific cities around the United States this year. First episode airs, I believe it's May the 12th in LA at the LA Live Regal IMAX Theater in downtown LA. I'll be there in person. I'll drop you the link about that shortly if you want to get a ticket to come to the movies and watch the premiere live with me, okay? But I start off in the first episode, I'm talking a lot about the Pleiades. This is the Pleiadian star system. And why am I talking about the Pleiades? I'm talking about the Pleiades because a lot of the people that from ancient cultures all around the world, their verbal handed down history is that they were seated on this planet by Pleiadians. And who am I talking about in particular? Well, let's start with the Hopi tribe. The Hopi tribe claimed that their star brothers seated them on this planet by the Pleiadians. Let's take a look at the indigenous Aboriginal peoples. They say that they were seated on this planet by the Pleiadians. Let's take a look at the Egyptians. They highly revered the Pleiades and talked about it in hieroglyphs and claimed that some of the Natiru originated from the Pleiades. Let's take a look at the ancient Sumerian tablets. They call the Pleiades Mulmul. And they themselves say that peoples from the Pleiades came to this planet and that they themselves were related to these people from Mulmul, and they revered Mulmul, which is known as the Pleiades. Of course, the Greeks got the story much later after it came out of Africa within Egypt, which is Kemet, ancient Kemet. The Greeks named it Egypt, the region Egypt over there, and then they took the stories and they took it back to Europe, right? Either way, there's some connection here. Why is it talked about in what used to be Mesoamerica, right? Throughout Mexico, down into the Yucatan Peninsula, and Chichen Itza, Coba, Teotihuacan, Peru, Bolivia. Why is there this reference over and over and over again to the Pleiadian star system? Cultures that are separated by sometimes thousands of miles, different continents, supposedly no communication, no way to talk to each other, right? No way to speak to each other. But all of a sudden, in some weird way, they all have a very, very similar story, and they all revere the Pleiades. It's talked about in Homer's Iliad. It's even talked about in the biblical text. Okay? In the Bible, they also revere the Pleiades. And they talk about the fact that God holds it and hangs it in the sky, and that the people there will forget, or we won't, or when they look back on us, they won't remember who we are. Some reference to that in the biblical text. So interesting that no matter where you look, you find this Pleiadian star system. A lot of spiritual people in the current era, they revere the Pleiades and talk about the Pleiadians as highly spiritual beings. What I discovered in a lot of the ancient texts was that there were wars in the Pleiades. So maybe they're high spiritual beings now, but at the time that the text is referencing them, there was a lot of turmoil going on. There was a lot of war going on in that sector of the galaxy. I cover this extensively in my new series coming out, Anunnaki, Ancient Secrets Revealed, and all the sources are provided. When you look into the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the Indian Vedas, the Sumerian tablets, the Egyptian text, all of a sudden you begin to realize there's a very similar story coming out of all this. The Mayan text, the Japanese text, they're literally talking about this war that occurred. And this war created space refugees. Here are some of the sources for some of the information if you want to look up some of this yourself. Burnham's Celestial Handbook, Star Names, Their Lore and Meaning, Star Lore of All Ages, Star Tales, The Age of Fable, The Greek Myths, The Reader's Encyclopedia, American Heritage Dictionary, and Fundamentals of Physics. Okay? Let's take a look at where the Pleiades lies in the sky. Where is it located in the sky? Okay? Let's take a look at that. And you can see here that you have Sirius on the left. Now that's 3 stars, a trinary star system on the left. The Dogon knew all about the Sirius star system. They knew about its orbital patterns, and they also knew about Sirius B, which is a star that has ran out of fuel. And the people from there came to Earth, called the Nomo, and taught the Dogon tribe a lot of incredible knowledge, well documented by mainstream science. You have Orion's belt. We know that Orion is also the Osirian, directly related to Osiris and the rising of the Jedi, the DJEDI. And then you have Aldebaran. Now, Aldebaran, Sirius, and Orion are all aligned with pyramid shafts of the Great Pyramid on specific star alignments over many thousands of years, meaning that they are directly connected to this Earth-based breakaway civilization that was created here in ancient times. And then off from that, you have the Pleiades. 6 bright stars you can see on a good clear night, but it's really 7 stars. But they know that At the time that they recorded the 7 stars, no one had the technology to realize that one of the stars had ran out of fuel. So how did they know that they originally were 7 stars? Even though there's more than 7 in that cluster, there's hundreds of stars there, but the brightest ones we're talking about and referencing. They knew that there were 7. One ran out of fuel. Who knew of that account? How long had that story been passed down? And from who and where? And how did they have the technology to even know that one star ran out of fuel? Something that makes you scratch your head and go, wow. And we know that these beings, based on this war, they started spreading out. So they did spread out. Let me go back. They spread out to Sirius. They spread out to Orion. They spread out to Aldebaran, those stars and those systems, and they created breakaway civilizations. One group landed on a planet that orbits a brown dwarf star. This red star in the lower left corner, that's a brown dwarf, okay? That's a brown dwarf. And it has planets orbiting it, which I'll show you some evidence of that later on in this talk today. Now, what's interesting is our solar system, according to the Enuma Elish, gravitationally captured some outside planets and stars that pulled it into a very weird orbit around our sun. And during this process, the planets orbiting this brown dwarf, also which had moons orbiting them, collided with Tiamat, which used to be the 3rd planet from our sun. Again, I go deep, deep, deep into this in my series, my TV series. And so Tiamat exploded, became the asteroid belt. This brown dwarf and its planets regained their own elliptical orbit around our sun. And there we have what we call a rogue planet. A lot of this is in the Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of creation. And this is what they look like. You hear me talk about them all the time, but this is what the actual tablets look like. In case you've never seen them before, these are the actual Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of creation. And you can see the cuneiform writing on them, wedged in with a wooden wedge into what used to be wet clay and then dried into hard stone. Why stone? Because they knew that in 2024, you would be sitting here looking at this screen right now. Because if it was on paper, it wouldn't last more than 20 years. It'd be gone already. You're looking at thousands and thousands and thousands of years of history right here in front of you right now. They knew that you'd be looking at this right now. They knew that you would be wanting to research this information. They left this behind for generations to come. Generations to come. The name of the TV series somebody's asking as I'm looking on my live chat on my phone now is Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed. It'll be airing on Forbidden Knowledge TV. So if you don't have a subscription, make sure you go to your app store on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. You can go to your iOS app store for Apple devices. You can go to your Google Play Store for Android devices. Or you can go to the web, 4bk.tv, the number 4bk.tv, and get a free trial. Go to my Egyptian Mystery School and watch 39 episodes of intense teaching. 39 hours. 39 hours. So what is the Enuma Elish? I'm going to give it to you right from the record so you don't say I'm reading off the dome. I'm thinking off my dome. The Enuma Elish is the Babylonian creation myth. It was recovered by Austin Henry Layard in 1849 in the ruined library of Ashurbanipal at Nineveh, which is in Mosul, Iraq. It was published by George Smith in 1876. Why is that important? Because these tablets were not deciphered by Zecharia Sitchin. Anyone who tells you that I'm following Zecharia Sitchin's work or that I'm regurgitating Zecharia Sitchin, you guys have been mind pimped again. You've been mind pimped. I love Zecharia Sitchin's work. I think he's a great researcher. But these tablets that I study were deciphered long before Zecharia Sitchin was even born. He wasn't even a sperm yet. Forget being born. Okay? 1876. The Enuma Elish has about 1,000 lines and is recorded in Old Babylonian on 7 clay tablets. each holding between 115 and 170 lines of Sumero-Akkadian cuneiform script. Most of Tablet 5 had never been recovered until recently. Tablet 5 was recently discovered and is currently in the Sumalai Museum in Iraq. This epic is one of the most important sources for understanding the Babylonian worldview, centered on the supremacy of Marduk, aka Amun-Ra. Marduk, where can you find him? In the Jewish American Library. You can find him in the Torah, which is also Jewish. You can also find him in the Bible. Just open up a digital Bible and type in the search term Marduk, and guess what pops up? He's in there, guys. He's a real person. And I do mean he, man, not no God, a real person. And the creation of humankind for the service to the gods, lowercase g. Its primary original purpose, however, is not an exposition of theology or theology, but an elevation of Marduk, the chief god of Babylon, above other Mesopotamian gods. This is where I keep telling you, Marduk, aka Amun-Ra, was a jealous god in the ancient text. He said, I'm a jealous God. There'll be no other gods but me. He wanted to usher in monotheism under his name. He wanted to be Aten, the sun disk, everyone to worship him. Why the disk? Because he ruled from the sky in his disk that flew. Now you think about that for a second. And who did he recruit first? Pharaoh Akhenaten to follow his lead. And then through Akhenaten, he got the people to fall in line and begin to worship him. Guy really had a real God complex. He even took the name Nibiru out of the Enuma Elish previous version, because we have that version. And in the newer version, which is still 6,000 years old, he changed the name from Nibiru to Marduk because he wanted to be the one that was the destroyer. This guy had a real ego complex. He started 2 wars. One war to take over early and become king of the planet. And then he started a second war because he didn't want to get out. Crazy dude, evil. He also said, when you say amen, you give thanks to me. This is the guy. When you hear the word God during this lecture, keep in mind, I'm not referencing the creator of the universe. I'm referencing the Anunnaki beings that masqueraded as gods with a lowercase g and were worshipped not only by the Sumerians, but by many civilizations that they themselves had kickstarted. These people created breakaway civilizations. And Earth is home base number X, number something. One of many breakaway civilizations that exist, as these people were space refugees fleeing an ancient war and then restarting their lives on different star systems. We just happen to have the misfortune of being engaged on this planet and having our natural form of our evolutionary process through consciousness and everything else interrupted by these people. The Enuma Elish exists in various copies from Babylonian, Assyria, and the version from the Library of Ashurbanipal dates to the 7th century BCE. The composition of the text probably dates to the Bronze Age, to the time of Hammurabi, or perhaps the early Kassite era, roughly 18th to 16th century BCE. That means before the current era. We're talking about a very, very long time ago. And if you want to see a story that's very similar, but in a slightly different time period, but still ancient, the Atrahasis epic, or the Epic of Atrahasis, also at the British Museum, which I've seen these tablets in person. I've been there. I have photos of them on my device, on my phone. Okay? Where do you think all these movies are getting the information from? They're getting it from these ancient tablets and turning them into sci-fi films, and you're watching going, well, this is great. You're watching what happened in the ancient past and you don't even know it. Our life that we're living right now, this mundane, boring life, is not what really used to happen. We're in a very dry period right now. The wars, let's look at this, the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata is an ancient Indian epic where the main story revolves around 2 branches of a family, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, who in the Kurukshetra war a battle for the throne, Hastinapura. Interwoven into this narrative are several stories about people dead or living. And I talk about this extensively in my book, The Epic of Humanity. I go into the Mahabharata, and there's some excerpts from the Mahabharata in the book because were referencing the fact that there were these wars that existed in the ancient past. They had weapons in those wars. Okay? And so it says here, at 100,000 verses, it is the longest epic poem ever written, generally thought to have been composed in the 4th century BCE or earlier. The events in the epic play out in the Indian subcontinent and surrounding areas. It was first narrated by a student of Vyasa at a snake sacrifice of the great-grandson of one of the major characters of the story. Including within the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata is one of the most important texts of ancient Indian culture and literature. It's the longest version, and its longest version, consists of over 100,000 schola. Over 200,000 individual verse lines. Each schola is a couplet and long prose passages with about 1.8 million words in total. The Mahabharata is roughly 10 times the length of the Iliad and the Odyssey combined. This is a massive work, super massive. They left a lot of information for us. So the fact that people are saying none of this information exists, it's all been written down. 200,000 lines of verses telling us what happened and what this ancient battle was about and who it was within and what they used to fight this war. Okay? The Mahabharata to world civilization is that of the Bible, the works of Shakespeare, the works of Homer, Greek, drama, or the Quran. It's just that magnificent. I have the entire 10-volume set of the Mahabharata in my study upstairs. In there, they talk about these vimanas, these flying vessels that they had that could take a complement of men to any planet. Listen to what I just said. They can take a complement of men, according to their text, to any planet. They had space travel. They had a device that looked like this that flew on something called a ferrofluid vortex engine. The engine used a rotating disc that had a liquid metal called mercury. It's a ferrofluid. They pressurized that mercury. And how do we know this? Because they left behind the actual layout of one of the ships and how it worked. We have the plans. Where do you think the government gets their UAP plans from? Ancient text. Hitler tried to do the same thing in the past. In the World War II, he was sending his people all around the world, even to Tibet, to find ancient texts, to find out about ancient weapons that he can reproduce, to fight in the war. Well, what happened to those people that Hitler sent out? They ended up working for America in Project Paperclip. We took 2,000 German Nazi scientists and political people over to America and put them in charge of our most private and exclusive programs, including weapons creation and space travel, rocketry. So where do you think they got their ideas from? These ancient texts and tablets. This pressurized vortex would be put up to about 60,000 RPMs, and then they would electrify it at about 200,000 atmospheres. They would notice an anti-gravity effect. Vimanas, they fly silently through the sky in the ancient text. Then you have the chariots of fire representing UFOs of one kind or another in the biblical text. You have spoked wheels, wheels within wheels, like in the book of Ezekiel, gears of time, synchronicity, the wheel of time or alchemy. You have snakes or human DNA in a biogenetic experiment. You have all these representations, the blue star gods, all these different people that they're talking about that had all these powers and all these devices that in some way flew. The mythical wars between the gods, witnessed and depicted by humans, have been since the beginning of time. Since the beginning of time, almost every culture has witnessed or talked about or referenced the wars of the gods. And these wars, a lot of the times, took place in the sky. One of the weapons that were used, or some of the weapons here, the Brahmastra. Amazing weapon. It's a celestial weapon created by Lord Brahma. It is sometimes known as the Brahma Astra. Astra referring to missile weapon. I'm not saying this. This is the mainstream deciphering of the information. As described in a number of the Puranas, the Brahmastra is considered to be the very deadliest of weapons. When a Brahmastra is discharged, neither a counterattack nor a defense of any kind can stop it. You can't stop this weapon once it's unleashed. Once this weapon is released, it cannot be pulled back. It cannot be aborted. Devastation is guaranteed. In an ancient Sanskrit writing, the Brahmastra was the weapon created by Brahma, along with its more powerful versions like the Brahmashira Astra and the Brahmanda Astra. The Brahmastra and the Brahmashira Astra are said to be mythical equivalent of a modern-day atomic weapon, a nuclear and thermonuclear bombs, respectively. This is their information, not mine. We're talking about weapons that can destroy planets. In one of the texts, it says that the Brahmahanda can destroy any man on 3 worlds. We're talking about planet destroyers. We're talking about Death Stars. We're talking about weapons that can reach out and take out a planet, which they talk about in these texts. They destroy planets. And where do you think Oppenheimer got his quote from in the movie Oppenheimer? He says, "Now I am become death, destroyer of worlds." He took that directly out of the Mahabharata. In an interview about the first test of the atomic bomb, first televised in 1965 as part of a documentary called The Decision to Drop the Bomb, Oppenheimer remarked that upon seeing the test, he thought, "Now I am become death, destroyer of worlds." He was quoting from the 1944 Pramavanda in Isherwood, translation of Hindu scripture from the Bhagavad Gita. Like I said, guys, where do you think he got the idea for splitting the atom? He got it from the ancient text. All these weapons that the government comes up with originate or have some origination or base in what they've read in ancient texts and tablets and scriptures from around the world. They just learn how to recreate them and then continue to build on them and make them slightly different here and there. But the source material is from ancient text. Period. Yes, and Oppenheimer did say it wasn't the first atomic bomb. And he was right, because we have evidence of it. Because we have the wars in the Bible. We have the War of Marduk. Let's take a look at some of the wars in the Bible. Kill the entire town if one person worships another god. Suppose you hear one of the towns the Lord or your God is giving you, that some worthless rabble among you have led their fellow citizens astray by encouraging them to worship foreign gods. You see, there's only one God. Don't let me catch you praising my cousins and nephews, because these people were all related. These masqueraders, they were all related. I'm reading from the Bible now, by the way. Book of Deuteronomy 13. Deuteronomy 13. Verses 13 through 19. Suppose you hear one of the towns the Lord your God is giving you, that some worthless rabble among you have led their fellow citizens astray by encouraging them to worship foreign gods. In such cases, you must examine the facts carefully. If you find it is true and can prove such a detestable act has occurred among you, you must attack that town and completely destroy all of its inhabitants, as well as the livestock. Then you must pile all the plunder in the middle of the street and burn it. Put the entire town on the torch as a burnt offering to the Lord your God. That's Marduk talking. That town must remain in ruin forever. It may never be rebuilt. Keep none of the plunder that has been set apart for destruction. Then the Lord will turn from his fierce anger and be merciful to you. He will have compassion on you and make you a great nation. I don't even want to talk about who those people are. That's a whole other podcast. It's a whole other podcast on a private network. Just as he solemnly promised your ancestors. All I can say is there's a war going on right now that involves these people. The Lord your God will be merciful only if you obey him and keep all the commandments I am giving you today, doing what is pleasing to him. You see how they are a warring race, and then they engage us in a way with fear and threat and anger and false gifts, promised land, and got us killing other people, killing our own people, our own brother and sister, people we don't even know. Off of hearsay, we'll kill an entire city. We'll demolish them. We'll kill the women and the children. We'll even kill the livestock. I hope you're listening. Now you know what's going on the other side of the world right now with this war. Kill men, kill women, and children. Then I heard the Lord say to other men, follow him through the city and kill everyone whose forehead is not marked. Show no mercy, have no pity. Kill them all, old and young, girls and women, children alike. But do not touch anyone with the mark. Begin your task right here at the temple. So they began killing the 70 leaders. Defile the temple, the Lord commanded. Fill its courtyards with the bodies of those you kill. So they went through the city and did as they were told. Ezekiel 9:5-7. You see what's going on here? You see what's going on? Their same mentality of murder and killing and plundering, they implemented that and taught it to us. And what are we still doing till this very day? The same exact thing. They'll take somebody in the military and send them halfway around the world and kill a guy riding a camel that lives in a $10 tent. Look at this. Here's a comic strip that illustrates what I was just talking about. You see a military officer here. He's got his semi-automatic rifle. He's talking to this kid. He just got done whacking the parents, right? He's probably in some Middle Eastern country. He tells the kid, hey, don't blame me, kid. Those politicians in Washington sent me here. I'm a good guy, really. I just joined to get money to go to college. Look at the blood on his feet, the bloody footsteps. Same thing still happening today. Same thing still happening today. Foolishness. And in their minds, I'm a good person because I just joined just to get a free education. I got to do what these people say. Really? You do? They send you halfway around the world with a $5 million weapon to blow up a guy and living inside of a $10 tent or a tin can makeshift house. That's the best we got. Instead of everyone saying, you know what, politician with a $10,000 suit on, you know what, general, why don't you guys go out there and do that, take care of that business for us? Show us what you got. You guys go out there and wipe out this entire civilization and leave it in rubble. Why don't you guys go get your family and put your family on the front lines. Let's see them go out there first. I want your sons and daughters to be out here in front. No, they recruit poor people from the inner cities and put them out there and let them blow themselves up. Let them go out there and do all the killing and put the blood on their hands. And they come back with PTSD. How many suicides have the former veterans of America committed since 2001? Just take a guess. Just take a guess. I'll tell you. Over 330,000 suicides since 2001. Veterans. Think about that number and go look it up. 28 to 35 suicides per day, 7 days a week. The number is crazy. The numbers are outrageous. But we were taught, well, by our gods with a lowercase g. This is another place that was decimated in the war, Uruk. You can find out about Uruk in the ancient Sumerian text. There was an ancient war there that turned this city into glass. What turns sand into glass? 3,000 plus degree temperature from weapons fire turns sand and bricks into glass. It's still standing there today. You're looking at the remnant of an ancient war that was thermonuclear. Mohenjo-daro in the Indus Valley. These are real bodies still laying in the street, holding hands, some of them. The bodies were never scavenged by any animals because they're radioactive. If you go there with a Geiger counter, you find out that the bodies are still there, radioactive, still today. The buildings that they lived in turned to glass. There's a dead body on a staircase from thousands of years ago, still there. The building's still there, glass. People think that the Giza Plateau is just a naturally forming desert. No, the Nile would run right up to the pyramids. That's evidence of weapons fire. There was a war on the Giza Plateau. This is the second pyramid war of Marduk. It also spread out here to Mohenjo-daro, the Indus Valley, and many other regions around the planet. Mohenjo-daro and Harappa in Pakistan gave the first clue to the existence of more than 4,000 years ago a civilization in the Indus Valley to rival those known in Egypt. That's how advanced they were. They would rival those known within ancient Kemet at that time. They were advanced. These cities demonstrated an exceptional level of civic planning and amenities. The houses were furnished with brick-built bathrooms, and many had toilets. At a time where people were digging holes in the ground and take a poop, they had real toilets. Wastewater from these were led into well-brick sewers that ran along the center of the streets, covered with bricks and stone slabs. They had cisterns and wells finely constructed of wedge-shaped bricks, held public supplies and drinking water. Mohenjo-daro also boasted a great bath on a high mound at the citadel, overlooking the residential area of the city, built of layers of carefully fitted bricks, gypsum mortar, and waterproof bitumen. This basin is generally thought to have been used for ritual purification. We're talking about an advanced civilization that existed over 4,000 years ago that ended in a thermonuclear war. You have this 16th century painting illustrating a battle scene in the Bhagavad Gita during the Battle of Kurukshetra. And you can see that they're in the sky. It was said that flying cities would fight each other in the sky. Okay? They would literally fight each other in the sky. And this is a representation of one of these sky battles where these gods were fighting each other with weapons fire. And of course, you know, in the Torah, people say, well, where's this information at? You know, I read, right here I have the Talmud. This is the Talmud right here, which I read all the time. Every day I read a few pages of the Talmud, okay? This is the Torah up here. And some of you have seen my books on learning Hebrew. But people say, well, if this stuff is all real, how come it's not in the Torah? Well, it is in the Torah. It's in there. This is the American Jewish Library. So you go to jewishvirtuallibrary.org and then go to /Marduk. Oh, man. All this stuff pops up. As you can see, I just took a screenshot, one of the pages. Okay? It's all in there. So how can this be? Like I said before, scientists know that we're not from here. What do I mean by that? This solar system that we're living in did not originate inside the Milky Way galaxy. That's now been added to all the new astrophysics books. Let me read it to you directly from the source so you don't think I'm just going off the dome again. Imagine the shock of growing up in a loving family with people you call mom and dad and then suddenly learning that you were actually adopted. This is the same sense of shock that came to scientists when they announced that the sun, the moon, and our planet and its siblings, which are the planets in orbit around our sun, were not born to the familiar band of stars known as the Milky Way galaxy, but we are actually part of a strange formation within an unfamiliar name of the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy. We're not from the Sagittarius constellation. We are from a whole nother galaxy called the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy, which is being swallowed up in a collision between the Milky Way galaxy. And where the collision point meets is exactly where we're located, which would explain the rogue planets that existed in the Enuma Elish. Using volumes of data from the 2-micron all-sky survey in 2-mass infrared mode, which is my favorite mode to watch when I go to the telescope system online at worldwidetelescope.org, a major project to survey the sky in infrared light led by the University of Massachusetts, the astronomers are answering questions that have baffled scientists for decades and proving that our own Milky Way is consuming one of its neighbors in a dramatic display of ongoing galactic cannibalism. The study, published in the Astrophysical Journal, which is peer-reviewed science, is the first to map the full extent of the Sagittarius galaxy and show in visually vivid detail how its debris wraps around and passes through our Milky Way. Sagittarius is 10,000 times smaller in mass than the Milky Way, so it's getting stretched out, torn apart, and gobbled up by the bigger Milky Way. And this is the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy. I'll be talking about this in my new series as well, in more and incredible detail. But you can see that yellow dot where our sun is. That's where we are. And that's the intersection point between Sagittarius. We were dropped into this location. So who are the aliens? We all are. We're not even from this galaxy. So people who don't believe in aliens, you can laugh at them. This is peer-reviewed science. We are not even from the Milky Way galaxy. And that's taught at universities, astrophysics. Sorry. That would explain the rogue planets. There's rogue planets all over the place. Why are there so many rogue planets in the Milky Way? Rogue planet means a planet that doesn't have a sun, that's just wandering through the galaxy. Scientific American, wandering in the void. Billions of rogue planets without a home. Let me say that again. Billions of rogue planets without a home. Thanks for the donation, Big Loss. Billions. That would explain the accounts in the Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of creation of all of these incredible collisions happening within our solar system, which we know happened. Uranus is on its side because a planet swung through here and caused it to switch places with Saturn and tilted its gravitational pull of its axis to where Uranus equator goes north and south, not east and west. Scientists have already known this for a very long time. Now they realize that it's rogue planets that came through our solar system, and some of them are still orbiting our sun right now. I thought this was kind of interesting, so I just put this up. If you look at the Planet X NASA image, and you look at the Star Trek logo, you see that Star Trek was showing our star, our sun, and the orbit of planets, and then a strange elliptical orbit of another star. We live in a binary solar system. That means we have 2 stars. One is a brown dwarf, which you can only see in 2-mass infrared mode. Anyone can see, go to worldwidetelescope.org. And then our white star. It appears yellow because of refraction of light when it hits the atmosphere, but our sun is white. The Dogon tribe knew all about this. No mystery to them. This is verbal handed down history for thousands and thousands of years. We're just catching up to their knowledge. We're just catching up to what they already knew. They claim, like I said earlier, the Nomo. The Nomo came and gave them this knowledge. And they've been passing this knowledge down for generations. Let's see if this can play.
VP 113, jokingly dubbed Biden. Get it? Corey Powell's editor-at-large for Discover Magazine in studio. How you doing, Corey?
VP Biden.
Right on.
There we go.
Correct on that. Two images show you. This is the arrow obviously pointing to it. But there are three dots on here. One is red, one is green, one is blue.
Right.
What's significant?
So this is the actual discovery image. Basically, two astronomers were looking one little patch of sky very, very far away, looking for exactly this kind of thing. Stars don't move. Planets or anything that's like a planet does. So this is color-coded. This is what they saw on different nights. They're looking for one thing moving. They color-coded it to show that all these stars are staying still. This thing is moving, and the way it's moving.
So this is just one.
It's one object, color-coded.
Is Pluto on this?
Pluto's in a whole different part of the sky.
So this is way out there.
This is way out there. This is more than twice as far away as Pluto.
Unbelievable. Why does this matter?
Well, there are two ways you can look at it. I think I look at it first of all as an exploration question. That there, we know where we are on Earth. We've mapped our planet. Our solar system is still terra incognita. It's full of surprises. This object is something that astronomers said shouldn't even be there. There's a whole other solar system beyond the planets that we know that shouldn't even be there. There's a whole other solar system beyond the planets that we know that shouldn't even be there. There's a whole other solar system beyond the planets that we know that are full of these things that are sort of planets, sort of comets. Some of them they call dwarf planets. That's what they're calling this one. What we're seeing is we're seeing our neighborhood. We're seeing what's around us. And then the second part is we're seeing where we came from around us. And then the second part is we're seeing where we came from around us. And then the second part is we're seeing where we came from around us. And then the second part is we're seeing where we came from.
Go back to the other image, guys, and we'll show, because we're over here on the left, right?
That's right. So we're over here.
Okay.
There's
Pluto's out here.
Yeah.
And this thing called Maki is way out here.
That's right. So that's another dwarf planet. If you want to find out where VP 113 or Biden is located, keep walking about another 30 feet that way.
Wow, we can see that far.
And this is the closest it gets this time. When it really gets cooking, it's 15 times as far away as Pluto.
That's incredible.
Takes 4,300 years to go around the sun.
That's incredible.
Takes 4,300 years to go around the sun.
That's incredible.
Takes 4,300 years to go around the sun.
I don't know how you know that, but I trust you. What is a dwarf planet?
So a dwarf planet, the fact you hear weird terms like that is actually scientists saying there are things out there we don't really understand. It's a dwarf planet is kind of a catch-all term for something. It's round like a planet. It sort of looks like a planet, but it doesn't orbit in a regular way like all the planets that we knew growing up.
Would this be part of our solar system?
So it's part of our solar system.
Would it be outside?
You don't really need to know that. All you need to know is there really are these two solar systems. There's the solar system with the classical planets, and then there's this whole other zone that we haven't explored. And now they're saying because of how this new dwarf planet moves, that there may actually be an even bigger planet, something bigger than the Earth.
I guess that's the point I was going to.
You don't really need to know that. All you need to know is there really are these two solar systems. There's the solar system with the classical planets, and then there's this whole other zone that we haven't explored. And now they're saying because of how this new dwarf planet moves, that there may actually be an even bigger planet, something bigger than the Earth.
I guess that's the point I was going to. Because you study this all the time. Is that why it's so significant? Because there's more beyond that?
There's more beyond that, and then there's more beyond that. I mean, I think what we're seeing is,
okay.
If you watch the show Cosmos,
So I'm going to pause this now because we're getting to the point. I'm back up here on the screen. The point is, he said there's a solar system within our solar system. There's two solar systems within the inner Oort cloud area. This is a real astronomer, not a fake astronomer, a real astronomer that's telling you that they've discovered some things out there beyond the orbit of Pluto that shouldn't be there. Planets and another solar system that's orbiting our sun. What ancient text says that? The Sumerian text known as the Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of creation. Again, modern science finally backing up what the ancients already knew. Okay? Backing up what the ancients already knew. By the way, if you're just joining us, make sure you click the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the network and the channel. All right? Make sure you subscribe. I hope that you guys are getting some information today. I hope you're learning something today about these wars and where they come from. They started a very, very long time ago in a whole other region of the Milky Way galaxy. And as those people left that region and spread out around to different star systems, they took the same warring mentality with them. Some came to this planet to create a breakaway civilization here. And they gave that same warring mentality to us. Same mentality. Which is why, what do you see happening on this planet? What has been happening on this planet for literally thousands of years? Wars, wars, and more wars. And predominantly, what is the number one reason for the wars? Religious beliefs. More people have died over religious belief wars than any other war that exists on the planet. Fundamentally, it comes down to religion. Now, in more modern times, it's a combination of, can we steal your resources? And you can see now another religious war going on right now over there, Israel and Palestine. And that war, it sounds like I'm reading out of the book of Deuteronomy. It sounds like I'm reading out of the Mahabharata or any of these other ancient texts. Same wars going on in the 21st century, no doubt, over the same garbage. We have to do better. We got to do better. We got too many grown people believing in fairy tales, but not because they want to believe in fairy tales, but because they want the power of what the fairy tale promises them. You have men who have written down text that says, we own this. We should own this. This is ours. It's a promise to us. And then you have, and those same men say, this is divine information. It was come down from the heavens. And then you have a whole civilization of people behind them going, well, we want it. Let's go kill for it. That's why I made a whole video about the Israel and Palestine situation. It's called the Promised Scam. Look it up. It's on this account. It's called the Promised, instead of the Promised Land, it's the Promised Scam. We still have human beings killing human beings in the 21st century. Over something that somebody supposedly wrote a long time ago. And the only reason why they wrote it was so they could steal the land themselves. These wars that happened in ancient times are happening today in a much smaller format. And so people, when they say to me, why do you dig into the ancient past so much? Why do you even care? I care because the past is prologue. What happened in the past is destined to happen in the future. Unless you know what happened. Unless you can get as close to the truth as you possibly can to see where we, meaning our ancestors, made the crucial and brutal error in their ways, so that we right now can change that situation. We can change the errors. We can change the mistakes. We can learn and grow from what happened in the past and create a brighter and better future for ourselves and for future generations. That's what it really comes down to. Are we going to continue to go into this cycle, this loop of rise and fall of civilizations and continue to kill and slaughter each other's babies? Or are we going to realize we've been manipulated from eons ago on the highest level to think that this is the way we should be living? And that we now need to wake up and completely realize we've been mind pimped. And it hurts, but it's the truth. And that we now need to rethink everything we thought that was real and see ourselves in a completely different light. We need to forgive our ancestors for what they did and forgive ourselves for what we've done. And we need to plan for a better future together as a civilization. That's what we need to be doing right now. But you can't do that unless you dig into the past. If you want to heal trauma in the body, there's no way to heal trauma in the body unless you do the shadow work and face the trauma. If you think you can just go through life and think that you can handle all the trauma, you're going to make yourself sick. The illness is the war. You see, that's what the illness is in the body, in the civilization body. And as you get holding in this trauma, not wanting to face it, you begin to get diseased. That's the spread of global war and destruction around the planet and manipulation and oppression. And then, guess what happens? Unfortunately, if you don't cure the disease, you get really ill, and then you're pushing up daisies. That means you're dead. You don't want to know how many dead planets there are in the Milky Way galaxy. There are hundreds of thousands of dead planets because those people didn't get past their own nuclear age. They weren't able to do the shadow work as a civilization and deal with the trauma. You go to any psychologist, any psychotherapist, they're going to tell you, you got to deal with your trauma. And they're going to bring up things from your past, from your memories that your brain has blocked out that you don't even want to remember. You don't want to remember this stuff. You don't want to bring this stuff up and deal with it and face it because it hurts. I know, because I'm going through that process as well. It hurts. You don't want to bring this stuff up. And guess what? They will tell you that if you don't bring this up, if you don't face this trauma and go through this emotion and learn from it and deal with it, you won't be able to create the future you want. You're going to stay sick, depressed, ill, heartbroken, whatever it is. The only way to move forward is to face your past, the ghosts of the past, the shadows in the closet, in order to build and create the future that you really want. It's the same thing as a civilization. We can't ignore our past traumas. The government's always hiding from slavery, right? The government, U.S. government, they don't want to, don't talk about it. That wasn't us. That was people before us. Don't talk about it. No reparations and so forth and so on. This is why they'll never be at peace. There'll never be complete peace until they acknowledge, like, man, we screwed up, man. We're going to take ownership for this situation. We've been economically oppressing you people for decades after. It's still going on right now. Wells Fargo just got sued last year for economic oppression against blacks. I mean, it just never ends. It's still going on. It hasn't ended yet because the government hasn't stepped up and said, stop it. We're wrong. They're hiding from the past trauma they inflicted on people, which in turn created trauma for them. In an economical state, in a legal state, it's all translatable because everything is a fractal. Everything is a smaller version of a bigger piece. No matter how you break it up, no matter what sector you're in, no matter what matrix you enter into, you're going to find fractals everywhere. It's all relatable. That's why I do it. Yes, I know I'm getting a whole new studio. Somebody said my audio is a little bit off. Yeah, I'm getting an entire new studio installed in here, new mics, new equipment and everything else. Once it gets too hot, it starts lagging a little bit. So I just reset the camera. But yeah, in a few more, couple of months or a month, I'm going to redesign the entire studio from scratch and getting rid of all the electronics and starting all over again. But that's the point I wanted to make, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I want to drop, I'm going to be doing this Regal Cinema IMAX release. Okay, Regal Cinemas IMAX release. I'm going to drop the link in the live chat right now. Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed. I'm going to teach this in a way on the big screen that you've never seen it done before at the highest level, so that you can say, I want to show this to my friend, my family member, my coworker. And you won't be afraid or ashamed to show it to them because it's not a YouTube video. I'm doing this little cheesy YouTube video. Who am I? You sent me a video for this crazy guy named Billy Carson. I don't want to see that crap. No. When they see it the way that it's going to be done, it's a multi-million-dollar production on the big screen. Oh, this was in IMAX? This was in Regal Cinemas? Oh, let me take a look at this. Totally different mindset because it's all about perception. It's all about perception. So I'm going to drop the link in here again. Make sure you get your tickets. If you're not going to be in LA, there's other locations around the United States. You can see all the dates on there. All right, check it out. We're doing it at the absolute highest level. At the absolute highest level. And also, don't forget, The Epic of Humanity is still a bestseller on Amazon, still doing phenomenal, still one of the greatest books ever written about ancient civilizations. The book itself, this entire book, is a reference book. I'm going to say that for you again. The entire book is a reference book. The entire book is a reference book. And let me just send one message here. I want to drop this link real quick to a special person in the live chat that I appreciate so much. I want them to take a look at this. I want them to take a look at this real quick. All right, thank you there. Sent that to him. So yeah, like I was saying, this book is a reference book. Every page of this book tells you exactly where the text came from, how it was discovered, and there's an excerpt from that text in the actual book. Okay? So, make sure you get The Epic of Humanity. I'm going to drop the link in the live chat one more time, so you guys can make sure you go to Amazon and please leave a 5-star review, as most people have, and click the 5-star button on there. All right, appreciate you. Also, what else do we have going on? We just got an amazing press release go out. We just had an amazing press release go out, I'm sorry, a couple of days ago, showing our new board of directors. Okay, our new board of directors for Forbidden Knowledge is all set. It's all in place. Let me see if I could find real quick that board of directors link real quick, because I want to drop it in the chat so you guys can read this article. I'm gonna get the link here. I just got it. And I want you guys to learn more about what's going on at Forbidden Knowledge. Here is the link to the press release that just dropped just a few days ago. All right. In our press release, in our board of directors, we have amazing individuals. We just signed Robert Grant to the board of directors, Robert Edward Grant. If you don't know who he is, he's a multi-billionaire. He's a founder of Bausch & Lomb. Have you ever heard of Visine? He owns Alphion Corporation. He's a founder and vice chairman of Alphion, which is one of the largest finance companies for medical procedures and dental in the United States. He's taken 14 companies public. He's on NASDAQ right now, but Eon Biopharma and Alpheon Credit. We list his stock symbols in his bio there. Okay. We have Tim Story. He's a life coach to the stars that owns one of the largest nonprofits in America. He has a huge prison program where they go around to prisons to help people that have been convicted of crimes and to talk to them and help them and motivate and inspire them to do things. He does that with the gentleman that played Iron Man. Forget his name at this exact moment. It'll come back to me in a second. We have Olivia Smith. All right. She is one of the chief officers over at Earthing Corporation, which is a multi-$100 million corporation that provides earthing and grounding products to people all over the world. And of course, we have Elizabeth Carson and myself, Billy Carson. So we have an amazing board. Our board is doing phenomenal. We have Robert Downey Jr. Thank you, XRL. Robert Downey Jr. Is working along with Tim Story. And he's on the board of directors. So we're very pleased with our board. We have a great board of directors, great human beings, people that really care about the world and the people around them, and are involved heavily in helping give us corporate guidance as we move towards filing our NASDAQ. And here is, if you want to get involved in becoming a partner with Forbidden Knowledge, here's the link. I just dropped the link in the live chat. You can go to forbidden.truecrowd.com. Forbidden.true. The link is messed up. Let me type it again in here. I got to put a space in between this. Okay, now I just dropped the link again. Forbidden.truecrowd.com. You can click that link and you can get involved in round 3 as we're raising funds still with Forbidden Knowledge. Soon, we will be moving into a Reg A+. We also have a 506 Reg D going live and launching for accredited investors only. And then from there, at some time later, we'll be uplisting to NASDAQ. All right? Uplisting to NASDAQ. Oh, Eric, let me send you something, Eric. I got something for you. 1 second. I got something for a very special friend in my live chat right here. I want to send him something very special. Here you go, Eric. Check that out. All right. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate all you guys. And thank you for all your support, all your love. And shout out to all of the amazing, amazing people that support. Like I always say, I have the greatest and most incredible and the smartest people following the Forbidden Knowledge platforms. The smartest, except with the exception of the trolls and the haters. They have no IQ at all, but they follow because they're obsessed with me. They must be obsessed with me and they love me the most, so they follow along and, but they serve a purpose in the world, because without darkness, you can't have any light. And so all of you guys are the light. Okay. You all are the light. All right. So thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. All right. Now, who was this? Gave me this last donation? LaDawn Thomas. My daughter says you may just be though. Tell your daughter I appreciate her so much. Thank you. And tell her thank you for, listening and supporting and trying to learn. I really appreciate her so much. Tell her I said hi. That's cool. All right, y'all. I got to pop off, and I'll be back soon with another pop-up podcast, as I'll be going live almost every single day this week before I leave to head to Colorado on some business. All right. So I appreciate y'all. If you do like the shirt, these shirts are available on forbiddenknowledge.com. All right. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for everything you guys have been able to support. And I'll be back soon. Peace.